The young man being hugged has just won $1 million here at Chicago Stadium. Don just hit a shot from 80 feet out that was a 3/4 court shot. He can't believe it. You see this guy right here. This is Don Calhoun. He's a big Bulls fan. He's about to do something that will change his entire life. Fans erupt. Don joins the Bulls in congratulating him on his victory. Michael Jordan embraces Don and offers him congratulations. Good job, child. Don Calhoun was all set. But he wasn't because of a rule infraction in this contest. The insurance company that was required to make the payout claimed they were simply not required to pay the man. Don had just accomplished the impossible, holding the game ball in one hand and $1 million check in the other. Don scored $1 million goal for nothing. Do you think you could make a three-pointer with $1 million riding on it? That would be an incredible consolation for one easy shot. But back in the 1990s, during NBA All-Star Weekend, the league and a sponsoring company like Foot Locker American Express did offer such a prize for making a single three-pointer. One of the most anticipated side events of the entire weekend was when Sony would host a contest for fans called the $1 Million Shot. Of the millions of fans who entered, only one would be chosen to take the shot and win $1 million. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for 4 lucky contestants who were chosen over the 4 years that the NBA hosted the contest. Among the 6 million entries, Demetrius Houston, then 17 years old, was chosen to take the $1 million shot with George Gervin by his side and 17,000 spectators watching. Demetrius lines up his shot and, with $1 million on the line, he clanks it off the backboard. Gervin tells the kid not to worry about it, but I'm sure he did in 1997, when a man named Jim Valente was selected. Perhaps I'll purchase a boat for the outback. Perhaps nothing will happen to you after the shot. Jim was questioned by Craig Sager about his encounter with $1 million gone. What went wrong? Jim, tell us how you felt at the time and what went wrong. I believe I pushed it just a little bit too far. For the first time in the competition's history, a contestant by the name of Sol Hoekman was chosen to take the shot in 1998. Another year, another $1 million miss occurred, but none of these $1 million shot events were able to equal the one that began it all in 1995. Mike Hoban, a 16-year-old contender, shot threes with all-star players for 2 hours each day during the weeks leading up to the competition. Marley, Dan, the most precise shooting routine you'll ever witness was being performed by Mike while he was confined. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike brought out a microscope and analyzed the hoop to improve his chances since he's taking phantom shots. Mike gets ready for his shot by being one with the basket. His routine is getting crazier by the second, but it still suits him. Friends and family gather around him as he watches history unfold live on television. The young Mike Holden has missed his shot and $1 million. Mike is prepared. He lines up the shot, shoots, and misses the rim by 2 feet with an air ball. The poor kid is devastated. Friends and family are in shock. The event commentator tries to help but instead just adds to the sadness. The good news is that even if he doesn't win money, doesn't go pro, and his chances of receiving a college scholarship are still alive. He will return to playing for his junior varsity team following the shot. When Sager interviews the young person, he gets the brilliant notion to just request one more chance. I wasn't exactly in the zone I wanted to be in, but if I could get one more shot, wouldn't you want to? I would love to get another one, too. Mike was never given another chance. For contestants, $1 million on the line for 1 3-pointer and 0 winners. And looking back on these contests, it's pretty remarkable that no one hit their $1 million shots, because countless fans and contestants have hit much more difficult shots for far less money. We've all seen these contests unfold in person. A fan gets randomly chosen out of the stands to come down and try to hit a half-court shot. The prize money nowhere near $1 million. Usually the prize is $10,000, or maybe $20,000, or a car. This Mavericks fan hit a layup, a free throw, a three-pointer and a half-court shot in sequence without missing an anomaly of events. In this context, his reward for the incredible feat, $3,000 worth of gift cards to a local furniture store. But it gets worse, because at a Mavs game a few years later this woman was put to the task of sinking a half-court shot. She's rocking the dirt gear, she's feeling good, beautiful form, and drills the shot. Nothing but net. What was her reward for pulling this off? A 65-inch flat-screen TV. This guy won round-trip tickets to anywhere by drilling a half-court shot at a Blazers game years ago. It was an unlikely shot from the guy, but it was far from impossible. What is impossible, however, is the fact that another fan hit the same exact shot. What would happen if someone truly hit $1 million shot? It becomes evident 30 seconds later that some people do make these shots. What if a club was forced to give a lucky fan a 7-figure check and instead of some gift cards or a flat-screen TV? April 14, 1993. The Bulls are in hot form and are coming into the game on a 3-game winning streak. By halftime, Chicago is up by 14 points. The Bulls hosted a promotion for their fans during the 1993 season in which one lucky fan would be selected to shoot a 3/4 court shot in order to win $1 million at the time. To this day, even $1 million cash prize for such an event is unheard of, but the real spectacle is about to take place. Jordan is killing the Heat with 22 points in the first half. It's a great time for home fans as usual. A member of the Bulls organization went into the crowd and chose a 23-year-old local named Don Calhoun because his shoes wouldn't scuff the floor. He was chosen because he was hopeful but aware of the slim chances he faced against Don Wall. Of the 19 lucky fans who attempted the halftime $1 million shot, 2 hit the backboard, 16 were airballs, and only 1 even hit the rim. The perfect contest. According to Chris Hammond, vice president of SCA Promotions and a pioneer in the promotional contest industry, is similar to the most alluring carnival game that feels doable enough to make people think they can do it while actually being extremely difficult. You could have Steph Curry there and still make money. So Mr. Hammond, it's time to pay up for an exchange. Bloomington, Indiana. What may be the most unbelievable event to ever take place on an NBA court. Don Calhoun drilled an 80-foot jumper for $1 million, giving Illinois a thrill worth $1 million. The crowd goes wild for a brief period of time, acting as though Don is a member of the Bulls team that just won another championship. The game's referee even approaches Don to congratulate him and act as though he is worth $1 million. Moreover, half of the players on this roster earned that much that year. After finishing the work, Don heads over to take a picture while holding a check in one hand and the game ball in the other. Observe how some of the top attorneys have carefully gone through these promotions. Rules and limits are tough because money can buy them. Breach one of them, and you can kiss your winnings goodbye. Goodbye. Don Calhoun broke one of the rules, not on purpose or anything, but one of the rules of this promotion states that a contestant cannot have played organized basketball within 5 years of the contest, and 3 years prior to this contest. Don was a member of the Triton community basketball team. The contest organizers were aware of this, and Don acknowledged it by marking the information on the contest form, but the contest organizers still disallowed Don from participating, shrugged it off and gave him the shot anyways. The insurance people, however, did not. To them it was a clear breach of the rules. Don should have never been selected in the first place, and so the insurance company of the event disqualified Don out of his shot and out of his $1 million. When news broke that the now local legend would not be receiving his money, fans were livid as reports on the event grew. Fan outrage grew with it, and within a week the Bulls organization was under so much local pressure that they held a press conference announcing that they actually had a change of hearts and they would pay up. A very strange and inexplicable decision considering their stance just a few days prior. Don's $1 million split into 20 payments over the next 20 years. His first check for $50,000 was sent out that week. Technically rules were broken, but Don was getting paid and he had no idea how or why. A year after his miraculous shot, Don heard that Michael Jordan would be in the area for one of his son's basketball games, a perfect opportunity for Don to get his $1 million game ball signed. So Don pulled up to the game in search of Michael, but with security flocking the NBA star, no fans were getting anywhere near him. But Don wasn't just an ordinary fan, he's the guy who hit the $1 million shot after the game. Jordan saw him in the stands and had security send him over so he could ask him for an autograph. Don approached Michael, but instead of inviting him over for an autograph, MJ asked Don, "Did you get your money a year after the Bulls changed their minds and decided to pay you your money?" Don eventually received an explanation as to why it turned out the insurance company wasn't the one who paid Don because they never meant to. Legally, the parties involved were within their rights to avoid the payments entirely, but Michael felt like what they were doing was wrong, and so we made it right. If it wasn't for Michael approaching ownership and demanding they paid on his money, he would have never seen a cent of that $1 million. So it turns out that even if it wasn't for Michael approaching ownership and demanding they paid on his money, he would have never seen a cent of that $1 million.